Hello. Don't touch that dial. Do not adjust your screen or your phone or your computer or whatever device that you're watching this on. That's right. This is Wednesday with T-Wil, okay? The greatest producer in the world, Miss Carrie, and the genius, Mr. Scott Carasik. Hello, guys. How y'all doing? Everybody all right?
Doing good, man.
All right. So, we are here to talk Falcons free agency and the collage of moves that have been made thus far. Falcons were a little busy today. We're a little bit later than we should, thanks to yours truly. My bad, guys. I was actually, well, hey, man, I fell asleep, okay? I literally fell asleep.
Hey, at least
Yeah,
you're
I was, I
honest.
was trying to get ready for the show and I fell asleep. And next thing I know, my wife's waking me up and I'm like, oh my God, I did the Home Alone. Like, I'm supposed to be on with Scott now. And, you guys were gracious enough to join me. So thank you. And then, of course, we had some little snafu with the background. Guys, we almost came to you with the Braves background. How crazy would that have been? You'd have been like, wait a minute, that was this morning. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for your patience. Hey, it's been a crazy couple of days, right? So, Scott, you and I talked about doing this show last week, and you said, man, it's going to be bananas. And you were right, Scott. You were right. Okay, a lot going on this week, right? We released Grady, and I know there was some sad singing and folks upset. I'm sure. I know I was. I know Carrie was. I know Scott was. So we were all bummed out Monday and kind of mad because Kirk is still a Falcon and we released Grady. And so we were all like low key a little pissed, right?
The money there was the big reason why Kirk is still a Falcon and Grady is, well, not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, speak to that, Scott. Let's take a more granular dive into that. I know that it saved us $16 million, but let's talk about it. And first and foremost, wherever you are, Grady, shout out to you, man. Great Falcon. You are Atlanta. You will always be Atlanta. We will always love you. Let's get that out of the way.
So you remember when I was showing you like an example of what the extension for Grady could look like?
Yep.
And that was, roughly $15 million a year for 3 years.
Yep.
And then cutting his cap hit this year.
Yep.
That's more or less what he signed for. Like, that is his market. That is what he is worth. And that is the Falcons were offering. They were looking at more the $10 million a year range.
Oh.
And let's not say that he was insulted, but, and I don't know exactly what they were offering. I'm just estimating. They were probably at 10. He was probably at 15. And he got 14 and a half when he left. He probably was like, hey, I can get more elsewhere. I've given everything I had to this city, and I just want to go try and chase a better shot at the playoffs moving forward. And they were like, you know what? We owe you that. That's fair. So they let him go. It was definitely more of a mutual decision. So I don't feel as bad about it as I probably could right now.
Yeah.
They just cut him in cold blood kind of thing. They didn't cut him. They weren't like, hey, you suck now. You're gone. They're like, hey, we'd love to have you back. They wanted to have him back. He wanted to be back. They couldn't reach an agreement on the number, so they cut him, got the money from that, put a good bit of that towards Leonard Floyd, and that's really just what happened.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that there will be an addition to the D tackle, for ranks for the Falcons?
Absolutely.
All right. So you, myself, and Carrie, we're talking about this off camera. You still feel like the Falcons are going to cut Onyemata. Is that correct?
I do. And I think a lot of it has to do with he and Graham are the same guy, essentially. They're pretty much the same kind of player.
Okay.
They're 1 tech, 3 tech types. So inside nose tackle play the A gap, that in between the guard and center gap, or they're 3-tech, they're playing between the guard and the tackle, kind of off the guard's outside shoulder. Those are the two roles that those guys would play, right? So if that's where those guys are going to play, and those are the main spots where those guys are going to play, you don't really need one guy at 15 million that's exactly the same as your guy that's probably at 1.5 or 2 million, right?
That makes sense.
Especially when that guy that's at 1.5, 2 million is 26, 27 years old on the rise, and the guy at 15 million is at 32, 33 years old and is on the decline. So you're better off letting that guy go, saving some more money in free agency, and then going after a guy like Foley Fatukasi, who played at the Jets and Texans with Nate Ollie as his line coach, who's now the Falcons defensive line coach. Maybe going with a guy, like a DeMarcus Walker out of the Bears, maybe John Jenkins if he's still available.
Okay.
Maybe a Solomon Thomas from the Jets who'd fit really well, or a Jonathan Hankins type. There's options there that you can sign that are probably going to be about 2.5, 3 million, and you're going to save a bunch of money. You'll have Graham, you'll have John, you'll have Solomon Thomas, and then you'll have, your two young guys, your Rook,
Right.
Ororo, and Brandon Dorlus. And I'm not going to say that last name again this show, but Rook and Dorlus are the guys you probably want starting this year.
Okay.
Where you'd have Graham rotating in, you'd have whoever you sign rotating in. And I do think it's going to end up being someone along the Foley Fatukasi, Solomon Thomas, like that kind of guy. And because Graham can play either of the interior defensive tackle spots, that gives you versatility to say, okay, well, Graham, you're a 1-tech rotating with Rook, or Graham, you're a 3-tech rotating with Dorlus. Either way, you're going to be okay. But adding Floyd off the edge, that's going to be a big change. That's going to help. That's going to help AK. AK is going to get more pressure. AK is going to learn a lot from Floyd. So, yes, it's good to have veterans. It's not great to overpay those veterans unless they're still at Pro Bowl level. And okay. I hate to say it about Grady because I love Grady Jarrett, one of my favorite Falcons of all time, one of my best draft calls too. Grady's not at a Pro Bowl level anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I hope he proves me wrong up in Chicago. Don't get me wrong. But he's just not – he's not Pro Bowl Grady Jarrett. He's above NFL average Grady Jarrett.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And I look, the numbers would agree with you, right? 62 overall PFF grade, 60.6 pass rush, 61 run defense. Now if we look at Taquan Graham, his numbers are better. Now he didn't play, he didn't get the snap counts that Grady did. With that being said, so let's keep that in mind. But I can see your point in what you're getting. And hey, man, look, Father Time's undefeated. None of us are going to stay at the prime level. He's still pretty good. He's still very good. Falcons just chose to go in another direction, and it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
And Graham's the guy you play in base, right? He's the guy that's playing in your run situations. You're going to throw Graham out there because that's where he excels.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, the name that I haven't mentioned yet that I could see getting a lot of playing time in a 3 technique that hasn't been really thought of just yet is Zach Harrison.
Well, let's check out Zach.
And Zach Harrison played really well last year. And as he got more snaps, he got better. And I think that will keep going.
67.2 overall grade. All right. So good run defender.
Really
good overall grade. Pass is decent. I mean, 87th out of 219 isn't bad. That's not bad.
That's also with him playing in base sets primarily.
Yep.
You're playing in a base set and you're above average as a pass rusher, you're doing all right. And that's why I like and again, he just needs more snaps. He's like, with this group, I'm looking at it and I'm like, Dorless needs more snaps. Rook needs more snaps. Harrison needs more snaps. AK needs more snaps. Trice needs snaps. Those 5 guys are going to be the guys that lead this group. They're their second and third round picks the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to get their snaps this year. So what you're looking for in free agency isn't starters. You're looking for rotational pieces. Sorry, there's a bug that's been flying around my dang face all day. But yeah, you're looking for rotational players. You're looking for guys that can teach Harrison and Rook and Dorless how to play on the inside. And you're looking for guys that can rotate in and take some of those run snaps so those 3 guys who are better pass rushers can come in and do that. So that's definitely the kind of thing you want. Oh, this is a special team signing, Mike Ford.
I thought, okay. All right. Because somebody was telling me that. Oh, wow.
He is pretty terrible at outside corner.
Yeah.
Was playing him last year.
But he was with us in 2022, right? And I feel like he was pretty solid for us in special teams.
Great in special teams. One of the top special teamers in the league. So I'm not worried about that side of it. He is a dime or 5th cornerback or 6th cornerback on the roster. Like, basically, imagine him and Kevin King's role, right? Kadero Hodge on the flip side is a really good number 4 wide receiver. We've seen that. He can get open. He can make some insane catches. He can grab it and take the ball downfield for a touchdown. I think if he keeps his feet on that one insane throw by Penix, he's gone for a touchdown at that point. But yeah, they say he didn't have enough snaps at wide receiver this year.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like, he wasn't designed to be a wide receiver, right?
Right.
He's designed to be a special teams guy, and he's designed to be a decent, like, 4th or 5th option when he's on the field in the passing game.
Yeah. I honestly, and hey man, you guys chime in, but I feel like his impact this year was so much bigger than his role, right?
Oh yeah.
So number one, the catch against Tampa Bay. I think Drake went out because Drake got hit or whatever. I don't know what was going on with him, but for that play, Drake had to come out. He catches the ball, takes it away from the defender, sprints for the touchdown. That's one game he won. There's another game where the Saints punt returner drops the ball. Kadero jumps on it in the end zone, touchdown. There's yet another game where it's 4th down and they run a sneak play out of the punt formation and Kadero stops.
Made the tackle.
There's yet 2 more plays in the same game. Exactly. There are yet 2 more plays in the same game where Kadero blocks a punt. Not once, but twice in a game. Right?
Pro bowlers.
I think, my opinion, and I don't know if there is an award, but Kadero Hodge is the special teams player of the year.
He won. It's not even close. He was first team All-Pro on special teamer.
Yeah.
So that's the closest he'll get to an award, and he absolutely deserves every bit of that.
Can I ask you guys? I guess I'm seeing a lot of like chatter on social media. They kind of wonder why we signed Mike Ford now that we brought Hodge back. And for me, I don't understand why we can't have both. What's your opinion on that? How will they both be used?
Are they going to be gunners? Is it gunners on opposite sides? Do you think? Scott?
I don't think people realize how many gunners you need on your roster, right? Because, you've got 2 gunners and punt coverage. You also have those interior gunners. So you essentially have 4 gunners and punt coverage if it's done right. This allows Hodge to move back to his preferred position of an interior punt gunner versus an exterior punt gunner. And you have Ford out there on the outside. The other side of the field, you're going to have, as your punt gunners, you're going to have Casey Washington, who did a great job last year. And then, you'll have Natrone Brooks. Those are your punt gunners. You also need good punt coverage guys. And those punt coverage guys are Mike Ford and Natrone Brooks. Right? Because you're going to have Hodge on the interior of that punt formation like you did when he sniffed out that sneak. You're also going to have you're going to have Casey Washington on there, maybe as a returner, or maybe Washington is being moved up the wide receiver depth chart, and that's why they're like, hey, we need another special teamer so that we're not using Washington out there, and we can use him as a receiver.
That would make sense, too, with his relationship with Penix, his connection with Penix.
The Falcons are not – also, I just want to go into the comments real quick. The Falcons are not trading Kyle Pitts.
I didn't think so either.
I don't believe that either, yeah.
I didn't think so either. I didn't think so.
Kyle Pitts today, you're getting a 4th or 5th round pick. You're not going to get nearly the impact from him, from whatever you get from that. It's not worth it. Yeah, I get people don't like Kyle Pitts because he's been a disappointment, but our expectations were too high for him too. He is a tight end. He's putting up above average tight end production. I know he's the number 4 overall pick. I don't think Zach Robinson really knew how to use him this year, and having turmoil with Kirk not having an arm for 5 straight games didn't exactly help Pitt's production either. So I think next year, Penix going to be a much better situation for Pitts. We're going to see a lot more deep balls from Penix to Pitts. It's going to be a very different look for him next year. And yeah, he's going to have those games that he goes quiet, but Drake London has games where he goes quiet for a game.
Scott, let me say something. And it's interesting that this comes up, right? Because I don't want to say as Carrie and I were in a heated debate a couple of weeks ago on a show, and I was defending Carrie.
I somehow became Kyle Pitt's lawyer because
right, you did. You really did.
Because I'm like, he's not getting traded, and I was basically saying what Scott had to say. In other words.
And I was second chair, for the record. I was second chair. Let's let that be noted. But it's interesting because in this debate or whatever you have it, somebody made the point, well, hey, you're not throwing him the ball, right? And I was like, whatever, because Kyle doesn't necessarily run his routes, blah, 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 blah. No, but I kind of tried to stay in the middle.
So, yeah, I just want to kind of cut off on that point real quick. There were times I was watching film, and Kyle Pitts is wide the fuck open.
Yeah.
And he is the second read, but he's too far downfield for Kirk to get him the ball. I wonder why he didn't throw to Kyle Pitts. Where I look at it and I'm like, if he's this wide the fuck open and Penix is out there, that ball is going right to him. And if he doesn't catch it, then I'm mad.
Right.
If that ball goes right to him and he's wide open and there's nobody within 20 yards and he's got a nice lane, we're going to see it a couple times this year. He's going to break off a 50-yarder, 60-yarder and be like, what got into Kyle Pitts this year?
Well, to your point,
the ball.
To your point, Scott, I'm watching a clip from the Water Boys because a lot of times at night I watch shows, not necessarily. I watch shows just to kind of see what everybody's talking about, for inspiration, whatever you want to call it. But I'm watching this show last night, and it's the Water Boys who are talking with Roddy White, right? And Roddy is talking about his last year here with Kyle Shanahan. And he said that he basically was no longer the second option. He said, look, I get Julio's the first option. He's the man. I don't have an issue with that. But I should be the second option. And they essentially just phased him out. He didn't say phase out, but he basically alluded to the fact that he was the 4th, 5th, 6th option. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching that. And I think I even commented on Facebook, I think we've seen this before. In other words, that feels a lot like what happened with Kyle Pitts last year. Like he wasn't option 2, he wasn't option 3. He may have been option 4.
On the plays that we accused him of loafing, he's option 5.
Right.
In the read progression. And you look at it and you're like, I'd be loafing too. Because Kirk can't get it to me on this deep ball. And I'm option 5. He ain't throwing to me. He's going to get to one of the other guys first.
And that's a great point you brought up, Scott, because I do feel like in the beginning of the season, pre-week 10, before, supposedly Kirk got hurt week 10 against the Saints, I feel like he was getting those deep balls more often. I mean, even in the Bucs game, he played really well. And I just wanted to ask also, do you feel like, how you mentioned Zach Robinson didn't really know how to use him? I know that's, tight ends aren't really a specialty when he was in LA. Do you feel like we weren't really drawing up plays for him either? Because I feel like, but I didn't really see that, but maybe I missed it. What did you see watching film?
So there were plays where he was wide open and Kirk would get him the ball, like in that second Bucs game. And he ran that like over route and he like dropped the ball at the end of the end zone. And everybody was mad that he dropped the ball heading into the end zone. But everybody else was like, I looked at it and was like, he just ran a 18-yard dig that they never really ran with him before. And then they never went back to it the rest of the season. Like maybe use him out of the slot running those 18, 20-yard digs and you'll get a shit ton of production out of him. Because that's what I would do, run these post routes, run these digs, run in breaking routes where he does better at getting open. There was a play where Penix could have hit him on a slant, but Pitts was running a go route. And I'm like, oh, shit. If I see that on film next year, Pitts better be cutting in and running a slant and opening his body wide and being like, give me the damn ball. Because that would have gone for 80 yards. They're at their own 20, 25, and Pitts had nobody around him if he cuts that in. He's got leverage on the corner. If he cuts that in, boom, instant touchdown. So it's going to change, but I don't think the issue is Pitts. I think they need to start running some routes that really fit his skill set a little bit more. I think they were learning all the guys this year. There's nothing like a year of working with guys to really teach you how to use these guys. And I think they know now what Pitts can and can't do.
I would think they would have known. Well, you're right though. That was a new staff. That was a new staff.
Brand new coaching staff all the way around. Koger didn't know him. Tight end coach didn't know him. Robinson didn't know him. Like they've seen some stuff he could do on film. But it looked like they also kind of added in towards the end of the year that Tony Gonzalez route tree. That, hey, just run a quick 5-yard in. Hey, just run a quick 5-yard out. Hey, just run that quick 5-yard stop. And we're just going to add that here and there so that you can just get some touches. I think you got to manufacture 2 or 3 touches early in the game for Pitts to get him kind of involved. And then later on, you start hitting him with that deep dig, that deep slant, get his brain in the game a little bit. I don't think that he's unengaged, like disengaged. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's, useless. I think he is kind of, how do I put this? I kind of associate a lot of stuff because I'm ADHD. I'm like, well, how do I work, right? If I get engaged in my work early in the morning, I'm way more focused later in the day, right? And I think Kyle Pitts could be that same kind of.
I was going to ask you that.
Get him engaged early in the game. Later in the game, he's like, oh, I'm seeing where all these coverages are now because he's got to touch the ball to really see what he's doing.
It's interesting you say that, Scott. And I bring that up. There was a Braves player. What was his name? Adam. Oh, God. Adam. No. He was a Braves player. This was
Adam LaRoche.
Adam LaRoche. And he had ADHD. And so every now and then, if the game got a little too, like if there was no action going on, now he had to take his medication. But I remember a couple of times he would drift. Yeah. He would drift. So, and I it's funny you say that because I thought I thought the same thing. I did think the same thing. Like, I'm like, I wonder if he does. I wonder if he kind of tends to kind of zone out a little bit with that. So it's interesting you bring that up, guys. I got to do some house maintenance. I got to do some housekeeping. So we got Michael Lahutsky in here, and then we got Michael. So we got Mike L and we got Mike, and they're both great and they're both really funny. So Mike says shouty, and Mike says pay cuts told you. And well, hey man, the Falcons are doing what they got to do. I think they've made what 6 additions between today and yesterday.
Pay cuts.
I think he's saying that the Falcons right now are shopping. At least today, I don't know, Scott and Carrie. Would we call our additions today Dollar General editions, or would they be maybe Aldi, or what would we call today's editions?
I would call today's edition like Honda editions.
Fair.
Fair enough. You're I'm using car analogies for this. They're not going to be your Ferraris. They're not your, not Javon Hargraves. They're not going to be your, Trey Hendricksons, right? That's your Ferrari. Right. They're not your Lamborghini, which is Micah Parsons. They're your Hondas. They're your Toyotas. They're reliable, good players who are going to impact your team in a positive way and help you do what you need to do. Like, that's Leonard Floyd. That's Divine Diablo. That's who these guys are. They're not Pro Bowlers. They're not all pros. They are quality role players that fit the role you want them to be in. Divine Diablo is a weak side linebacker who's going to give you some coverage. And he may not start over Troy Anderson. He may just be in there on some nickel sets. But if Anderson's hurt, you need a guy like Diablo in your depth who can play the same coverage roles that Anderson plays, so you don't have to completely change your scheme.
Man, let me tell you something. That dude has a great name. His name really means holy devil or godly devil, like that. Just what a name, dude. What a name. Divine and Diablo.
All name team for sure.
That's crazy, man. Divine means of, from, or like God. And Diablo literally means devil. So I don't know what was going on there, but hey, man, whatever. I don't know. Crazy. Yeah. Michael says, let's see. Michael says it's a talent versus time balance. We are refilling our depth on defense. Okay. I can get with that.
And then get the studs.
Yeah. John from Out of Your Falcon Mind says, I'll give Hodge a target comp if we're using shopping centers for what he brings to special teams. That's fair. That's fair enough. That's fair, right? Because let me tell you, we're going what he brings to special teams.
Yeah.
He might be Nordstrom's. He might be Nordstrom's.
If we're talking about what he brings to special teams, he's a Nissan Maxima, right? It may still be a Nissan. It may still be nice and reliable, but it's a Maxima. Like, it's got that real fast Z engine in it. Like, that's what I want.
Okay, fair enough. Carrie, if Kadero Hodge was a car, in your opinion, what would he be?
I'm going to give him a little more respect than a Nissan just because I don't rate Nissans like that. I know he's not a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but Nissans actually safety-wise are not that safe. So I'm going to give him a slight upgrade of a Nissan. He's flashy. He makes big plays. Last year he made the Pro Bowl. He literally came off a career year. I'm going to call him a Dodge Charger. That's my pick.
Sorry, So for me, I work in lending and I do a lot of car loans, and the most common thing that I see on our warranty claims that we get back are Dodges. And second is Chryslers and third is Rams. For me, I'm like, oh, so he's injured a lot?
I have a Dodge Charger, and I have knock on wood, haven't had any problems yet. So that's
why you said Charger. Okay,
flashy. Just saying.
Okay, I get it now.
What I see,
I get it.
I get it. No, that's fair. We're talking cars here, though. We're not talking Hodge. Hodge is a stud. We love Hodge.
He is. I love Hodge for sure.
2 blocks in a game. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Not in the NFL. Maybe in college.
I've seen it in high school.
Yes, by the
but
same
I've
person.
Never seen it in college or the NFL until Hodge did it. That's probably why he got the All-Pro nod more than anything else. Like, he scored a touchdown, and I mean, and from what I remember on the muff punt, he hit the guy right as he was catching the ball, and then he went and scrambled and got the ball.
He sure did. He sure did. You're right. You about to say something, Carrie?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we please go to Michael's point? If Leonard Floyd is with 10 sacks as a Nissan, what have we been driving in Atlanta?
1984 Ford Pinto.
Oh wow. Oh, you know what?
A hoopty, that's for sure.
Let's go to the world's ugliest car, right? So Pinto is definitely
driving.
Definitely
terrible quality.
Pinto is definitely an ugly car, but I'm gonna go one better. I'm not gonna say one better. I'm gonna go one uglier, at least to me. Wait till you guys see this. Oh my god, because this is what I think we've been driving. Carrie, this is a little bit before your time. I'm gonna advise you guys to cover your eyes, okay? Because you're not ready for this. How about the Pacer?
Oh yeah.
I forgot about the Pacer. Wow.
The American.
That you put Pacer ugly.
Oh, that is the ugliest car. That Mike L says Cybertruck. Nah, bro. Pacer's the ugliest. I don't care what anybody says.
So
Pacer is the ugliest car known to
Ford
man.
Pinto, and I think that's right up there with the Pacer.
Let's find Let's go to Ford Pinto. Let's go.
And then you also got the Gremlin, which would also work.
Oh,
I forgot who made the Gremlin.
So there's the Pace. I mean, there's the Ford Pinto, which isn't great.
No,
but that Pacer. Ugh. All right, what did you say was the other? The Gremlin? What was that? Was that by Ford or who made the Gremlin?
I don't know who made the Gremlin. Just type Gremlin car.
All right.
Because otherwise, you're gonna get like.
I mean, you already know it's gonna be ugly if it's called Gremlin car. Why would you name a car Gremlin?
Oh.
Yeah. It's like it was
basically, guys.
Wagon.
That was our pass rush. So Mike made a good point. Mike L. Was it Mike L or was it Mike? I think it was Mike L. No, it was Mike. My bad, Mike. But you're right. I mean, basically, this has been our pass rush. This right here. I personally think the Pacer is the ugliest known to man. But whatever. I mean, I'm good with Pinto. I'm good with Gremlin. We sucked as pass rush, okay? And we sucked for a long time. John from Out of Your Falcon Mind says Geo Metro. All right, John. Let's go Geo Metro. Let's check it out.
Was the Geo Metro like the little baby Jeep that people were driving around, or am I thinking something?
Oh God, no, that is ugly.
No.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That is ugly. That is ugly.
Because Geo used to make something that was like an Isuzu Rodeo or like almost a Jeep type car. So like that's what I was like that one Geo was actually kind of nice and kind of fun looking.
Honestly, when I saw his comment, I didn't really think of a specific car model or make. I just thought, let me think of the worst hoopty, like no AC, maybe it has a CD player, but we now have CarPlay these days, like old school roll down the windows, like maybe you're missing a window. I don't know. I just pictured a hoopty. That's all I know.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I know these is because I'm just big. I love classic cars and I love older cars, and then I see some of these that come up when I'm looking around, and I'm like, oh, I would never touch that.
Hell no, guys.
Cybertruck, for what it costs, is probably the worst value historically.
You know what this reminds me of? Scott? Do you remember the guy in the Coca-Cola commercial? It was a whole thing, Max Headroom. Remember Max? It kind of looks like those graphics. Like it doesn't look like it's real. That's how bad this is, right? Because you say to yourself when you see it, who would buy that? Like, whatever. Okay, it's weird. It's weird. All right. So, well, you know what, Scott, you're obviously a car guy, and I'm a car guy. So let's go from the ugliest to the sweetest old school, right? Now I'm gonna give you my favorite. You give me. I got two of them. Wait, where's the SS? Is that the SS?
The Camaro
That's the
SS?
Camaro.
69
That's the
Camaro
Camaro.
SS?
That's the Chevelle. That's the Chevelle SS, right?
Okay.
I got that. And then my other favorite old school that I just absolutely love is that damn GTO, man. For me, if I was going to do it,
I was going to say 67 to 70 GTO.
Yeah. That old school GTO was it, man.
The 67 to 70 GTO, the 69, for me, 67 to 69 Camaro are my favorite Camaro, which you just pulled one up because the 69 Camaro SS it's like a classic, the old, especially the Yenko styles. It was like a light blue color. I'm a big fan of the 240Z.
I remember the 240Z.
Everybody, but the Datsun 240s were beautiful cars. Very unique in their own way, but they were fast.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, guys. So let's get back to Falcons. Crazy, man. Mike L says Chevy Impala. You know what, Mike? I got to make that one for you, buddy. I got to do that. That is a classic.
That like 60s Chevy Impala was a very pretty car.
Yeah, riding in the back, diamond in the back, sunroof. How did that diamond in the back, sunroof up, digging the scene with the gangster, something like that? But that's the 67.
The Oldsmobile. I forget what it was called.
Was it an SS Oldsmobile?
Well, no, it was the Cutlass.
All right.
So the old Cutlass was like the original
442. That's right.
442s.
Oh, I love those, Scott. Now that's my other one right there. That is my other one right there, man. That 442 was great. I could talk cars.
The same thing as a Chevy Impala of that same age, like from 64 to 70 something.
Yeah.
The old Cutlass 442 and the Impala were the exact same car.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. All right, let's get back to Falcons. So today we added Mike Ford, which is, like you said, Scott, special teams. We added Daryl Hodge, who is essentially fourth-string receiver and special teams extraordinaire. Hell, he's Mr. Special Teams, damn it. Let's put some respect on his name. And then we added Taquan Graham. You said what?
Throw a C on his chest for his special teams contributions.
Even better. All right. So, Scott, if you could give us your very, very astute and educated opinion on where we are with the salary cap right now with the moves we made.
So roughly, this is going to be a guess because we don't have full details on all the deals yet, right? I would estimate we're about 5 to 6 million under before the Jake Matthews deal gets fully confirmed and before we know full details on a lot of other deals. So, I mean, we're not super high, but we can open up a ton real quick.
Okay.
All
right.
So T-Wil restructure opens 10. Lindstrom restructure opens 10. That's 20 right there. And then you cut on Yamada, that opens 12. That's 32 right there. They've got that kind of flexibility if they need to use it. So
okay. So Miss Carrie dropped an update in our chat. Carrie, tell us about what you're hearing about Kirk Cousins.
Oh Lord, not Kirk. I'm gonna be happy when once he's no longer Falcon, like I don't think I'll ever say the name Kirk again. Like it's just not gonna be in my vocabulary. I'm just so over Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
Not a Star
Um,
Trek fan?
I'm sorry. I'm unfortunately not really a big Star Trek
No,
fan.
you're good. I was making a joke.
Oh man, but yeah, no more Kirk Cousins for me. But no, in all seriousness, no, the latest update is that what we as Falcons fans pretty much already knew. Falcons are not expected to cut him when we're due the $10 million roster bonus, which I believe is not actually on the books till next year. Is that right, Scott? Like it wouldn't affect this
Correct.
year. Okay.
So it doesn't
So
pay out
sorry,
till next year.
okay, yeah, pays out next year. I think maybe around the league they didn't realize that because now all of a sudden they're shocked that, I've been seeing a lot of reports that now we're expected to keep him and it's like, okay, I guess they thought the Falcons were bluffing, in that regard.
Yeah.
It makes no sense really for the Falcons to cut him. Maybe a trade, maybe he reworks the money, his, guarantees, I don't know, takes pay cut. But yeah, it makes no sense to cut him. But I guess national media is just realizing this, that it doesn't make sense. So
Why pay him as much to play for someone else next year when you can just keep him here? You're going to get something in compensation, and whoever you trade him to, they're going to have that $27.5 million this year that they're going to pay for a starting caliber quarterback, which is worth it, right? If this guy's starting for your team, $27.5 million is under market rate. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Then you have $10 million guaranteed next year that you have to worry about, and that's it. That's all the guaranteed money on your books. So whoever trades for him is going to do some sort of restructuring deal.
Yeah.
They're going to take that $37.5 million, turn it into a single bonus, probably, and then have like a $14 million cap hit this year. And then if he doesn't work out, you're going to have a $24 million cap hit to cut him next year. And then that's it. Then they're done with him. Or they'll be paying him a really high salary that he's probably going to negotiate down from 35 to like, if I had to guess, he'd negotiate his salary down from 35 to like 15, and he'd count 30 million next year for them to keep. So
I guess I would like to ask you guys, Scott and T-Wil, if that is truly what ends up happening, we trade him, we're waiting, holding out in hopes of getting a trade partner. My worry is that now that free agency is upon us, teams are making moves. We're seeing quarterbacks move around the league. Where do you think he could go? Because I feel like the options are dwindling. I just saw the report from Schefter that Russell Wilson is scheduled to meet with the Browns, which I know a lot of people saw that as Kirk Cousins, number one landing spot.
Browns were never going to be the landing spot.
Okay.
Let's look at teams that don't have a single quarterback under contract right now. That'd be the Steelers and the Giants.
Which is where allegedly Aaron Rodgers is choosing between right now.
Whoever loses on Aaron Rodgers, and I use lose as a very, very sarcastic term, but whoever loses on Aaron Rodgers. I don't like Aaron Rodgers at this point. I think he's useless. I think he's a bum. I think he's living off his name. But that being said, Aaron Rodgers, wherever he goes, the team that does not get him will be open to trading with the Falcons. Because of Kirk's contract, we may not get a pick this year. It may be like a 7th next year. Who cares? They'll take his entire contract, let him go for whatever you can get for him. And be happy that, Arthur Smith and the Steelers have him now. Or Brian Gable and the Giants have him now.
Right.
I mean, I could see a situation where Tomlin was sitting there asking Raheem Morris, hey, how'd you feel about this Kirk Cousins guy? We're thinking about it. And him just being like, listen, we're not cutting him. You got to trade for him. You got to take his contract. But we'll give him to you. You just got to take his contract. Because of that connection there, I can see that happening. And Arthur Smith runs a similar enough scheme and does base a lot of stuff off play action where Kirk could be a really good fit for them. And I don't think he's going to have as dead of an arm this year as he had last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a very different Kirk Cousins that would play in Pittsburgh. And if he does great in Pittsburgh, I don't care. I'm happy. That's the AFC. Let him enjoy his time. He's not going to a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh. It's Kirk Cousins, right? Like, he's not going to go to a Super Bowl. And then we'll have our time with Penix. We'll see Penix develop. We'll hopefully make the playoffs. I think we probably will. But we'll hopefully make the playoffs. And then, yeah, Kirk might cost $37.5 million on the cap this year, but we'll save that $2.5 million this year and have a ton of money available next year.
So to that point, how much do you think we'll have next year?
So without Kirk's contract on this team, right? So say you trade him before the June 1st deadline, you only gain $2.5 million this year. But you'll be at over $140 million next year, over $240 million the year after. So that's a lot of money to play with. And honestly, after the draft and everything and all the signings and all that, you're probably looking at $100 million under the cap next year.
Wow.
But $100 million under the cap with a rookie contract and a really solid roster all around. And the only extension you really have to give out next year is Drake London.
Yeah.
So maybe you just do a very even deal for Drake and you're like, yeah, we'll pay you $30 million that first year and count it towards the cap that way. Because we still have 70 to play with.
Yeah.
So we'll be essentially be like the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders are right now.
Exactly.
I can't wait for that. I also wanted to say, I forgot to mention as well that I did see that I guess the Vikings are also interested in possibly signing Aaron Rodgers, which I really didn't see coming.
That's not
so.
You think that's fodder, Scott?
I mean, it was from a legit source, but.
Well, no, and Carrie, look, I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings aren't talking. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying I don't see him going to the Vikings.
Okay, that's fair.
That's what I'm saying by that's not happening. Like,
I guess I'm surprised they're even entertaining it, honestly. But
wait, guys, hold on. I don't know how reliable this source is. Okay, I do not. So let me put this out there. I'm on X, Carrie's favorite platform. For anybody who knows Carrie lives on Twitter, okay? Lives there. Okay, gets mail there and everything. So I don't know, Carrie, if you know Zach Nagel 7. I don't know if we know of his reputation, but he says the Atlanta Falcons are very close to acquiring Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. They're sending a second and a fourth and a fifth.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, T-Wil, but did you see my reply to that tweet?
I did not. That's why I'm asking. Oh, wow.
Can you somehow show it to everyone?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to show that. All right.
So
I got excited.
No, he is literally just a Falcons fan. He literally was engagement farming. Maybe he was doing wishful thinking, but yeah, that's fake. That's not real, and he's not a legit
fake
source.
news?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that is because I got excited, man. I was like, don't play with my emotions, Smokey. I got excited. Hold up, let me find it. Shoot, I gotta find it. I'm seeing you guys. I guess because oh wow, you guys see what I see right now. How about that? It's crazy.
Why don't you just search his name in the top right?
Because I suck at Twitter.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me.
Or at the top, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
right here. Wait,
on the top
right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Zach Nagel.
I think
is that
it?
At 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
This dude. All right, where's his freaking post?
Yeah, please find it. Please find it and show my reply, please.
Oh, her reply is hilarious. It is. Oh God, why can't I now? See, if I wasn't looking for it, jeez, man.
It's okay. You'll find it. Let me see how many hours ago it was.
Oh, it was a while ago. Okay,
It was
so
last night.
Oh, it was last night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I feel like a really silly. I feel silly for even bringing it up. Let me find
It's
it.
okay, no worries.
Carrie's like, you beginner, you Twitter beginner, you TBer.
Okay.
It's okay.
So,
Oh, jeez.
if you
Jeez,
scroll
man.
down to 18 hours ago is when he tweeted it.
This is March 10th, right? Today's the 12th.
No, this
I
is
had
March
to have
11th,
missed it. I had to have
10:40
missed it.
p.m.
All right, so let's go March 11th.
People are really falling for that. It's hilarious.
Like it just popped up, and I was like, "Holy shit, man!"
I wish it was real, T-Will. Unfortunately, it's not.
I wish it was.
There you go. Slow down.
Right here. Oh,
Yes, right there. Now click the replies.
Well, how would I click the replies?
Click on the tweet.
Okay. Wow. All right,
There
so
I
that's
am.
Carrie's.
There I am.
All the time.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh.
You know what? I almost just replied right now and said you like that, but then it just reminded me of Kirk Cousins, and now I'm sick with myself. Oh man!
You decided not to do it. That's crazy. That is.
I didn't
crazy.
even. I just meant, do you like that? But then it sounded too much like Kirk Cousins saying, "You like that?" You're like, oh gosh.
You like that? No, it's all good. Hey, gotta do some housekeeping. King Richie, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Ladarius, how you doing, sir? Ladarius says, good evening, Carrie, Scott, T-Wil, and Chat. Kirk is trade value, especially given the current QB market. Wouldn't be shocked if he stayed in the Atlanta area or in the ATL. Sorry. John from Out of Your Falcon Mind says, I have a very close source that says most sources are complete ads. I love it, John. John, I love it. John, you might be Falcon of the day, John. With one
with the jokes.
You might be you might be fan of the day. You might be fan of the day.
There's a reason why I don't report all the stuff I hear.
Yeah,
I don't report really any of the stuff I hear unless I hear it directly from like an agent who's negotiating stuff. Because it's pointless to report.
Yeah, you're connected. You're in the game.
Well, and there's so many moving parts that it's like, what's the agenda being pushed on me right now?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
I
just got excited, guys. I got so excited when I saw that. You don't understand, man. My heart just, oh my god.
Okay, that's happened to me before. Not with that one, but
so excited, man.
the hard way with that. Yeah.
I was about to get up here and start dancing. Like I was so excited. Holy crap! All right, let's let me get Twitter off. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do going forward, I'm just gonna ask Carrie. How about that? Carrie's my Twitter Obi-Wan. I will.
If I haven't put it in our chat, T-Will, it's probably not real. It's I would have broke that news.
Gotcha. No, I didn't see it, man. I didn't see it.
All good.
I didn't see it. Scott, give me your thoughts on where we're going, what we've done thus far. Are we in good shape? How you feeling about it?
I mean, we're an hour and a half into free agency, right? Like officially an hour and a half. I think we're on the right path. I think we've got solid depth. I think we've got guys that we believe in to start, which at least is enough for me. You know, because, yeah, we might need a safety, but DeMarco Hellams can start if need be. Like, you're not losing a ton there. You might need a Mike linebacker, but, yeah, Caden Ellis can easily start there. Even though you'd probably rather have him be the strong side linebacker. Leonard Floyd can easily start for you. Ebiketie can start for you. Harrison, Rook, Dorless, they can all start for you. Terrell and Hughes, Phillips, you're good there. On offense, you're returning 10 starters, 11 starters, really, out of the 12 that I would say are starters. And then you're probably bringing back Newsel to start at center. And honestly, Newsel played more snaps last year than Dalman did. So you're essentially bringing back your entire offense from last year with another year of experience in the scheme, and you should be able to see them take a step. Now, do I think they take the step they took from 15 to 16? No, I don't. That's unrealistic. Do I think they take the step to be like a top 5 to 10 offense? Absolutely. especially in scoring offense. I think they start scoring 4 touchdowns a game, 28, 29 points a game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. It's been so long.
Yeah. Well, and look at if
And
you
then
make
that would
the
take a
right
lot of
moves,
pressure.
right? If you make the right moves, we can make a run. Maybe we don't get to the Super. I agree. You can't just predict that. But if we get the
No.
right defense and we make the right moves, Scott, I think we could go on a run. With this offense that we have, I think we could go on a run. Give me your thoughts on realistically where you could see us plateauing in the playoffs next year.
So realistically, the high end for the Falcons right now, based on the roster, based on what I think they can do, is probably 11-6, 12-5. And you probably, again, high end get some luck in the playoffs. You're in the NFC title game. Losing to Detroit or Washington or the Eagles or someone along that line. You know, say you get to the playoffs and you get the Bucks in the playoffs. I think they can beat the Bucks any game. Say you get to the playoffs and you get like, I don't know, the Vikings. I think they can beat the Vikings. Say you get the Rams or the Seahawks. I think they can beat those teams. I think the Niners are going to have a down year. I think the Cardinals are trash. Cardinals are pretty terrible. Like, I think the Falcons are probably going to be a much better team next year than people are realizing.
That's okay. Carrie, your thoughts? Like, we go on a really good run, things break our way, guys are healthy. Give me your thoughts on where you see us plateauing next year.
I mean, this is a really early prediction, T-Will, but because I still don't know, like we still have, holes and question marks on defense. I
Yep.
obviously am, comfortable with where our offense is. But defense, we still have holes. We really need to hit in the draft and make a few more signings and free agency, hopefully a trade.
Falcons
But
just tendered Ryan Newsel for what it's worth.
okay, cool. So that's locked up
Love it.
because
Okay.
I remember
Good.
I had asked you about that right before the show started.
You
Yeah.
sure did. You
Okay,
sure did.
so
It
that
just got
locked.
put in the NFL's official release at the start of free agency. So
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
That's good. So we have our center locked up.
We got
Yeah.
our
yes,
center.
Yeah. So I don't know too well. I really don't know if I want to do these predictions. I predicted last season. Okay, I'm just gonna put myself out there. I don't care. Remember, I was on the record saying we were gonna go 12-5, and make the playoffs, win the division. So right now, it's not that I still don't have high hopes and I don't want us to win, but it's like I feel like I don't want to put expectation out there or even because man, last season that was, I don't know, a nice way of putting it, but it's basically a fail. So, but for me, we got to get better with the run defense. I'm really hoping we draft a guy maybe like Scott's guy, Jahad Campbell. I really like him as well. I think he'd be great for our defense. Um, I did see today at Georgia Pro Day was today. They really seemed like they were high on Malachi Stark. So
Yeah.
maybe we go with this. Maybe Falcons fans finally get their wish and we go with the Georgia player high in the draft. Not saying we don't draft Georgia players because we do, but a
Yeah.
high pick, at 15 overall, maybe. I don't know. But I did see that Jeff
trade
Ulbrich
down
said
to like
today.
20,
Okay, trade down to like
pick up
20.
a third
Okay.
and a fourth, and then do that. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I saw that Jeff Ulbrich, watching Malachi Starks in his pro day today said, "Goodness gracious, that's different. That might be the safest pick in the draft." So, I don't know. I feel like there are multiple picks that can go on defense with the first round, and I'd be so happy. So, for me though, I just feel like our run defense, obviously our pass rush is second to last in the league last season, very bad. But I also think we were not good at um, stopping the run. I feel like, a guy like Jahad Campbell would really help that. We need a player that has speed, a guy that can cover, and linebacker is definitely a need because Landman, as of now, is not back, and Troy Anderson's always hurt. So yeah, I would be happy with that pick as well. So I hope that
Mm.
answers your question, T-Will.
No, it was great. No, and that's fair. Let me tell you something. That is fair. It is still early. And I mean, I can admit I got a little bit of Eric Parker in me. Okay, he's my brother.
17
So
and 0, I get it.
yeah, I can be like, God damn it, we're going to the Super Bowl. Like I cannot tell you how many times we signed a guy, right? And Eric and I are having a conversation, and we're both in unison. We're going to the Super Bowl. Like, who was that from the Rams? Steven Jackson. When we signed him, we were going to the Super Bowl. Oh my God, Todd Gurley. When we signed him, we were going to the Super Bowl. I could give you so many other examples of we signed free agents, and it's like, wow. But with that being said, guys, this offense is a legitimate offense that can score 4 touchdowns on anybody, right?
Right.
Right now with the talent that we have. So if we construct this defense the way we need to, and not only that, but if we don't do dumb stuff like, I don't know, play all of our corners back 12 yards, which I don't think we will. Okay. Olbrooks a professional. He's done this before. We got a shot. I agree with you. We got a shot at 12-5.
Ulbrich might do that like 5 snaps out of the game, but he's not going to do it 45 snaps out of the game like Jimmy Lake does. There'd be like, maybe it's 3rd and 20 and he's playing these guys 10 yards off the ball.
Yeah.
Fair point. That's the time you're supposed to do it, right?
Right. Not 3rd and 5 though, right? Not 3rd and 5 and they're 25. And they're 29.
I'm calling my guys up pressing. I'm running, red 2, like yeah. We need a zero tech from what King Richie says. I don't agree. This scheme is not a zero tech scheme. You run a 1 tech, a 3 tech, and a 5 tech on the other side of the 3 tech. It's an offset scheme. That's not a straight up scheme. So a zero tech doesn't do anything. Not a fan of Shamar Stewart personally, but he's solid. Oh, what's good, A1?
What's going on, A1? How you doing, brother?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, guys, is Shamar Stewart, and I'm going to use an old Italian term, based on our conversation earlier. I won't put it out there. That's between us, but you guys know what I'm saying. But is Shamar Fugazi? Is he not the real deal? In other words,
so I think he needs the right situation to be great because he didn't know how to tackle or produce in college. And I don't think the right situation for a guy who's got all the tools and has all the athleticism, but has no understanding of how to create production is Atlanta for a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I think adding a guy who doesn't know how to get sacks and doesn't know how to get tackles for loss to a scheme to a team with a bunch of guys that don't know how to get tackles for loss and how to get sacks is the right way to go about it. I think Shamar Stewart's best bet is to go to honestly, I kind of hope Carolina or New Orleans takes him because I think he's going to be a bust, but his film matches his production. If you're getting what I'm saying, his production was nothing. His film is him running into a tackle over and over and over again. And I'm just like, how many times can you run into a brick wall before you're just like, hey, I need to learn how to use my hands. Like, hey, I need to push this guy around. Like, I hate his film so much. He has like 3 or 4 flash plays in an entire 3-game stretch. And he's being talked about as a first-round pick. And I'm like, if this guy was literally anybody else with the same production level and the same 3 or 4 plays of flash, he's talked as a 3rd-round pick, right? 4th-round pick at most with his level of athleticism. I don't know why people like him so much. I don't get it. I've seen all of his film, and I'm just like, I don't understand why people are all over him. So I'm not a fan of him at all. I think you can take James Pierce. I think you can get Princely Uman Milan. I think you can get a bunch of different guys and have a way better, way more productive pick in the 2nd round. Like Princely in the 2nd round versus Stewart in the 1st, I'm taking Princely. Michael Williams probably going to fall towards the end of the first. You trade down, you get more picks, you take Michael. I'm okay with that, right? Because he at least has 5 sacks and 10 tackles for loss in a year. He at least knows how to create production. He at least has a decent excuse of the Georgia defense has studs everywhere and someone else is taking the sacks. You know, Kyle Kennard has a similar situation. I take him in the third, maybe late second. I like Ahmad Hassanin from Boise State in like day 3. There's some really good players, but some dudes are just insane athletes, and that's all they are.
Yeah. Like, who was that? Duke Riley. You guys remember Duke Riley? Running with the truck behind his back, and he was going to be great, and Duke just could not. Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Which way did he go? Guard. That was Duke on the field.
Greatness.
Yeah,
Duke Riley is one of the best special teamers in the league right now.
Yeah, but we drafted him to be a linebacker, though, Scott, right? Where did we draft him? Where did we draft Duke?
3rd round, 2017.
We drafted him in the 3rd round? All right,
traded the 2nd round pick for a high 3rd, got a pair of 5th round picks, and then our 2017 draft was just utter trash. It's like it was like Forky out there, just screaming what it was. Trash! Trash! It was Tack and then a bunch of nobodies that all suck. And
wow.
Except
Tack with the picture of his grandmama coming over. Yeah.
We took Tack over Watt, who on that day I was like, why do we not take TJ Watt?
Oh, man.
This doesn't make any sense.
A blunder. We got Big Low Country in the house. Big Low. What it do, man? What in the world, Bo?
Hey, Big Low.
That's crazy. Michael L says, Scott, what edge do you like in the draft?
Oh, I thought I answered that. Princely Uman Nick Scorton, big fan of his. James Pierce, I think fits. You know, again, it all depends on where you take him. I think Jalen Walker is an edge, not a linebacker for the Falcons. I think if they take him as a linebacker, I think it's a bad idea. But I also think he's Caden Ellis, with more speed, but basically Caden Ellis. Okay. So do we need a Caden Ellis clone? Do you draft him in again? If he's there in the 2nd, I have no problem with it. I don't take him in the 1st. There's certain guys where I'm just like, I wouldn't touch him in the 1st round. The edges that I like in the 1st round are Abdul Carter and Princely Uman. And I think Uman is going to be there in the 2nd. So basically Abdul Carter. And I do like the Boston College guy, Donovan, and I'm probably going to butcher his name, Azir Ruaku.
Okay.
But Donovan E. from Boston College is a really good fit. Really kind of has that Vic Beasley, if Vic Beasley actually playing football feel to his game. Again, Vic Beasley was good. He just wasn't motivated all the time. And that was the biggest issue with him. If you can get a motivated, pumped up Vic Beasley, that's Donovan E., you might have an all-pro year 3, year 4 out of this guy. So that would be my sleeper. That would be my 2nd round pick if it was up to me. It'd be either him or Princely in the 2nd. And then in the 1st, you go either Jahad Campbell or Malachi Starks. Campbell at 15, Starks on a small trade down to 21, 22 with the Chargers. Chargers have 15 picks in this draft. Grab 3 or 4 of their picks. Get a 6, get a 5, get a 3, get a 4. At the end of each round from them too. And just be hey, whatever your latest one of these are, grab those. And trade down from 15 and get Malachi Starks at 21, 22 and be perfectly happy with Malachi Starks as your free safety so you can keep Jesse Bates in the role he was in last year, which I think is better than the role he was playing in prior years. Jack Sawyer's solid. Not a huge fan. Yeah, see, A1 sees what I see.
Look at Big Low.
See, and Big Low likes those public subs. We were at a brunch of a mutual friend, and Big Low was like, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I might just go to Publix and get me a sub.
Well, apparently he saw Duke Riley there. Duke Riley makes subs at like my local Publix during the off season. That's crazy. What'd you say, Carrie?
I said, "Oh wow, he might even make some." Hey, Big Low, he might even make some croissants.
Croissants. That's what he might do. That's what he might do. That's right.
I love Big Low though, man. He was in my fantasy league one year, and I would have beers with that dude any day of the week. Like, he's one of the coolest dudes I've met.
Big Low is hilarious, Scott. Okay, so I talk to Big Low just about every day. Okay, and he and I were on a show this past Sunday, and Big Low is like one of the few people that just brings the silliness out of me, right? So whenever I'm on his show, it's gonna get bananas, and I'm gonna laugh a whole lot. We had so much fun, and to anybody who hasn't seen that show, go back and watch the show. I think it's Emergency Coaches Meeting on Big Low's channel. Shout out to Big Low, the best in the business. But Scott, we had the best time, man. We had Uncle Steve. Like, whenever I do shows with them, and Carrie can attest to this. You know, your cheeks are normally sore. Pause. Get your mind out the gutter. Your cheeks are normally sore the next day. Your cheeks on your face. Really. Because there's so much laughter, right? Like, Big Low cracks me up, man. That dude's hilarious. Mike says, Scott, love your inside info. Agreed. Scott is the insider's insider, if that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. Anyway, let's see. And Scott, you just touched on this. Donovan, I'm not even going to try his last name.
Donovan E. from
Donovan
Boston.
E. There you go. Donovan E.
I don't want to disrespect this man by mispronouncing his last name.
Exactly. Exactly. Mike L says, who does everyone think we will draft at 15? Scott, I agree with you. I think we're going to trade down. I think we have to. Like, if it's me and I'm at 15, I'm trading down for at least a second and a third, or a second and a fourth, or a third and a fourth. I can't go beyond that, but I've got to trade down for 3 picks, which is your pick at wherever you're picking from, your second and your third, or your third and your fourth.
Probably third and fourth, or second and fifth is how you got to look at that.
I have to ask Scott, so do you think we trade down no matter what, or is it more so who we go for? Because I feel like there's a chance, like your guy, Jahad Campbell, he could go like maybe 17th or so. Do you think it depends on who's still on the board?
It depends on who's on the board. A lot of times if you're trading down, it's because you have 3 or 4 guys on the board. You think you can trade down 5 or 6 spots, and you still get one of your 3 or 4 guys, right? You got those 3 or 4 guys. NFL teams don't stack their board, 1 to 20. They stack it like, I've got this guy with the top 5 grade. I got this guy with the top 5 grade. I got this guy with the top 5 grade. This is my stack on the top. So they might have like 4 guys with top 15 grades, right? And they're like, oh, well, I got these 3 guys that have, top 15 grades. And I got between me and 20 wants to come up and give me a 3, a 4, and a 6. So I'll let 20 come up for that 3, that 4, and that 6. And I know that I'm going to get one of my 3 guys in that 15 stack. So it could be like Malachi Starks, Jahad Campbell, and then the 3rd guy in that 15 stack could be like Mykel Williams, for example. Just throwing 3 names out there, right? Okay. They're like, we're going to get one of them because this team needs a wide receiver. This team needs a running back. This team needs a corner. This team wants a safety. This team wants a linebacker. So they know kind of what every team's looking at anyway. And you can play the game that way and be like, all right, well, now we've got a 3, a 4, and a 6 for moving down 5 spots. We didn't have those before. Now we do. Those extra 3 picks are going to be useful to build depth out. And let's say you get to 20 and you still have Malachi Starks on the board, but you don't have Mykel Williams or Jahad Campbell on the board. You're taking Starks. So that's
okay, cool. That makes sense.
No, that does make sense. That does make sense. That does make sense. That's great. King Richie says Kenneth Grant in the 1st or 2nd as well. I don't know if you touched on Kenneth Grant. If you did, well, I'm looking at your face, so I don't think I don't think you agree with that, but give me your thoughts on Kenneth Grant.
So Kenneth Grant is a one technique, not a zero tech, one technique. Has a wrestling background from high school. If they trade down, totally in on Kenneth Grant. Totally in. After a trade down, absolutely. He's a 6'3", like 320-pound nose tackle. Sorry, 330-pound nose tackle. After a trade down, Grant would be perfect. He's space eater. He takes doubles in the middle. Not a great pass rusher, but guys that big normally aren't. But he will be a 3-down guy because even on those third downs, even though he's not a great pass rusher in terms of penetration, he's going to sit there and he's going to eat a double team every single play. So that's going to open everybody else up front. Sometimes that's what you need in the middle. Just that guy who's going to open up everybody else. That's all Eddie Goldman did. Eddie Goldman didn't create any pressure up front, but he ate double teams and it freed other guys up. So I don't mind Kenneth Grant in the first if you're looking at defensive tackle, but I also feel like Rook can do kind of the same thing. So like to me, Rook is a one technique from Clemson who's big and strong and he's adding weight this year. Probably going to play around 310, 315. A lot faster than Kenneth Grant from what the film showed. A little bit more of a penetrator. Still going to create those double team needs. I think Rook has a really good year this year. I think Dorless has a really good year this year. Those were guys that when I was watching their film last year, I'm like, yeah, Rook's a second-round pick.
Yep.
You know, easy.
Yep.
Dorless is a third-round pick, easy. Yep. And I think Price is going to play into this a lot too. I think we're kind of discounting him because he didn't play a snap all last year because of his ACL injury. Now, I think he comes back and sets the world on fire 1 year after an ACL? No, nobody does. If he does, I'm really excited for 2 years from now, for 2026, because if he sets the world on fire in 2025, when he's fully healthy from the ACL in 2026, because it takes about 2 years to get fully back, he's going to be a monster. So I don't think he does that. I think he's like a 3 or 4 sack guy, plays really good run defense, plays maybe 30% of the snaps, kind of gets his feet wet in the NFL, and provides something to the Falcons. And that's all you need him to be in rotation with Floyd and with Ebiketie, but you still need that stud on the edge.
Yeah. Agreed. The chat is going crazy. Like, there's so many people in the chat. It is great. Love it. Let's continue. Guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't point you to the link below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Grab the link on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. It gives us more into the algorithm so we can bring you more great content like this. More content with Scott the Man Carasik and Carrie, the best producer in the show. And, oh, yeah, this guy. So yeah, man, if you can on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe so we can keep doing that, and we'll get back to business. So I kind of want to bring a good point. Big Low is like laugh out loud at Carrie. Chris is like laugh out loud. Big Low says we had a great time. Can you give everybody the growl, T-Wil?
Oh, all right. No, not the growl. Oh, God.
So I'm gonna do it. Just to give you. Just to give you a little background, right? How this started was we were talking about concerts that we went to, right? You guys know I'm a old school hip hop head. I'm 54. So we were talking about DMX. And if you've never been to a DMX concert, it is the greatest thing. The greatest thing you'll ever see is when DMX is about to come out. Because you've never seen anything like it, right? So first thing is the lights go low and he does a prayer, right? And it's a rhyme or whatever. It's a poem, it's a prayer, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of it, there's this growl. And when I tell you, I've never seen 70,000 people lose their shit. Literally, everybody in there lost their shit. I've never seen anything like it. Okay.
It makes me think of where the hood at.
You said what now?
Right at the beginning of where the hood at, where it like gets down.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's a growl, and then the phone starts.
Yeah. It's crazy. It is crazy. All right. So, in honor of my friend Big Low and DMX, who I am an extreme fan of, I'm going to try and do this. It's going to suck. I'm going to warn you because I don't do a good DMX. Okay. But in honor of Big Low, I'm going to do this.
We're going to give the people what they want. We get it.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Right. That's what I'm going to do. So give me 1 sec. Let me get myself together here. Whew. Jeez. All right. So this is T-Wil imitating DMX. I'm going to warn you. It's going to suck. Wherever Lisa Shepherd is, she's going to hate it. All right. I'm going to warn you. It's going to suck, but I'm going to do the best I can. All right. I'm going to do the best I can.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here's TMX.
TMX, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, once I do this, my wife is going to be like, you can't do another podcast for a week. You suck. All right.
I second that.
That was my wife.
Awesome.
I agree. Hey, how you doing? Hey. Yes, I'm going to suck right now. I'm just letting you guys know. All right. So, let me get my DMX voice on. Oh, God, this is going to be bad. All right. I wish I could take a drink before I did this, but here we go. All right. Here we go. Hello. We're talking the draft with Scott. He's giving us knowledge, a lot. We're talking Kurt with Miss Carrie. And first pick that makes me scary. And Falcons all day long. There we go. All right. There we go. It's done. I did it. There you go, Big Low. That was for you. Okay. Let's get back.
Big Low says hi. He's in the comments.
Oh, man. All right. Big Low says much love, Carrie. King Richie, we don't have a 3 either. We definitely need that. King Richie, number 15 through only a trade down.
I think he's saying for Grant, not at 15, only through a trade down.
Okay. All right. We got Tabro. What round would you take Georgia center?
Jared Wilson.
Yeah.
Really good center. Really good fit for the Falcons. Outside zone. Great at it, does a good job with pulling blocks. He's super athletic, a lot of functional strength there. I worry about his line calls because they weren't the best at Georgia, so he may have to develop those as he gets to the pros. But I think probably late third, early fourth kind of guy. So if they have a third round pick, there's your guy for the third round pick. If they don't, take him with that early fourth round pick. Really good fit for the Falcons. It's like Mike L was asking about Hendrickson. I think. Oh, okay. Do we have a shot at Hendrickson?
They want so much for him.
It's standard posturing this time of year when people are talking about trades. They're going to ask for a first. I would ask for a fourth for Kirk, but let's be honest here. I'd take a seventh in 2027 for him. Like
in 2027.
Just because you ask for something doesn't mean that you're going to get it, right? Like,
right. T-Wil wants a second for Kirk. Not going to get it, but he can ask for it.
Yeah.
I might get it. I might get it in 2095, Carrie. Okay. I might get a 2095 second round pick. You never know.
So I do have a theory that if for whatever reason the Falcons do somehow get, Micah Parsons on trade. So only theory I've got with this, the Cowboys have the cap to absorb a Kirk Cousins hit on trade, and sending Kirk with 2 first-round picks to the Cowboys makes sense. However, there's no reason for the Cowboys to do that. Like Kirk with 2 firsts for Parsons, right? It would make the cap work on our end. It wouldn't make it work for them, obviously. But, it would make the cap just fine for them too. But it doesn't make sense for them to pay Dak Prescott $65 million and Kirk Cousins $27 million. So that would possibly be a team where you get Dallas involved. You're getting Parsons. You're getting rid of Cousins.
Yeah.
Spending 2 first-round picks makes it really worth it for Dallas because they get 2 first-round picks. Then Dallas flips Cousins after doing a restructure and eating some of that money to, say, Pittsburgh for a 4th-round pick. Dallas eats the money. Dallas gets 2 firsts and a 4th for Parsons and eating some of the money. Pittsburgh gets Kirk Cousins, and then the rest of it works out from there. But then the Falcons have Parsons and cap space to pay Parsons long term. And they can go ahead and extend Drake and Parsons at the same time.
That's fair. That's wow. That's damn. Scott, they really need you on their staff, sir. I'm just saying, like, I know I'm not the only one thinking it. But Falcons, you need to come get this guy, man. Like, that's real. That is real. Like, what in the hell are we doing? I'm just saying, like, you need to be, you need to be on their staff, because I don't know how in the world you came up with that. You know what, Scott? Next week, let's do this. Let's do a mock draft next week, but also let's have you and I will get together ahead of time, but let's document what you just said so we could walk people through it, because that is insane. That's absolutely, that's freaking genius. I don't know that I've ever seen a 3-team NFL trade.
Falcons did it when they got John Abraham. They traded 15 to the they traded 15 to the Broncos, got back a 4th and a 5th, then traded the Broncos number 29 overall pick for John Abraham.
Wow.
And wait, they also got, I want to say, Ashley Lilly that way too. They traded Duckett to the Commander, the Washington team at the time. They got Ashley Lilly, and then the Broncos got something. I don't remember exactly what the Broncos got, but he couldn't have been very good. I'll have to look that one up. But that Ashley Lilly trade is the only one I can think of. 3-way deal with Washington.
I forgot about Ashley Lilly.
Duckett Lilly trade. It was a weird trade. So the Falcons traded TJ Duckett to Washington. Ashley Lilly came to Atlanta, and then the Broncos got Washington's 3rd-round pick in 2007. Look at me pulling up random trades from 20 years ago.
I bet you didn't think you'd be doing that today. I bet you. I know you did.
I mean, I knew I was going to do something like that, but let's see. 3rd-round pick from Washington to Denver was used on Ryan Harris, an offensive tackle from Notre Dame, who played for Denver for 5 years as their left tackle, started 110 games for them, and was part of their Super Bowl 50 championship team.
Damn. Okay. Cool.
As their left tackle.
Cool.
How about that?
How about that? How about
that trade?
Hey, man, Falcons just need to hire you, man. Like, I don't know of anybody in the world who would think of that scenario. So, Falcons, if you're out there, man, you need to hire this guy.
King Richie says Cowboys may want Tyler Algier as well. You know what?
And
if you can get Micah Parsons, let him have Tyler.
Exactly.
Right. Because I hate to say it,
we're not going to re-sign him.
I love Tyler Algier, but his skill set is super replaceable.
Yeah. Well,
a bowling ball offensive tackle who can play decently in the outside zone game. There's literally one that comes out every year. I feel like the Falcons have taken a running back in every single class, since Terry's gotten here. 2021. Well, no, maybe not 2021, but 2022. They took Algier. 2023, they took Robinson. 2024, they took Jace McClellan out of Alabama. There's like 12 running backs this year that are that big bowling ball type guy. You know, in the 5th or 6th round, you might be able to get an Ollie Gordon or a Cam Skatibo. Probably messing that name up. You know, if you want pure speed as your number 2 back, you can get Etienne or you can get Jaden Blue. You can get the Rocket from South Carolina, who probably is better than people realize, Raheem Sanders. He might be an undrafted free agent. That's how good this running back class is. And he might be the guy who ends up leading all of these guys in rushing yards in 5 years down the line. Like, that's how good Raheem Sanders is. So it all depends on fit. It all depends on O-line. It all depends on who, you know, where they end up and what they end up doing. But if you lose Tyler Algier and replace him with Raheem Sanders from South Carolina, you're not losing much. Yeah. And honestly, you might be getting a little more speed on the same kind of guy.
Yeah.
Plus, doesn't run as angry, but
yeah. No, I mean, plus he's going to want to start, right? He could go to probably 6, 7 other teams and be your number 1 starter. To me, he reminds me of Michael Turner behind LaDainian Thompson. And in no way am I saying that Bijan is LaDainian Thompson, but it just reminds me of that before, you know.
Bijan's a top 5 back in the league, though.
Definitely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You could argue top 3. You could argue top. Didn't he have like the 3rd most yards?
He had like 3rd most total yards.
Yeah.
But he had like 4th most touchdowns and like 5th most touches. Like, it's one of those things where like he's in that top 5. I'm not gonna argue exactly where he's at,
but he's in there. Agreed.
But he's up there.
Yeah.
And that's all I need to know. I got a top 5 running back. I got a guy who can be a top 5 wide receiver.
Yep.
I got a guy who can be a top 5 tight end on this roster.
Yep.
I've got one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the league in Mooney.
Yep.
I've got a solid slot guy in Ray McLeod.
Yep.
Maybe even another solid slot guy if he goes down in Casey Washington or Kadero Hodge, who can at least come in and play a little bit and give me something. You know, I've got a good blocking tight end in Werner. You know, I've got the pieces. And if I lose my backup running back, who I can replace with the guy I drafted last year to be a future backup running back, I think I'm okay in this situation. I think the Falcons offense has way less to worry about than the defense, especially since you're returning literally every starter.
I agree 100%. I think we're going to have a great team. I think we're going to make the playoffs, right? As long as we don't do dumb shit like not call timeouts. And I think, for the record, I think Raheem learned from that. I really do.
I do.
I think he learned from that. I don't think we'll see a repeat of that. If we stay reasonably healthy, we can make some noise in the playoffs. Doesn't mean we'll get past Detroit. I got to give Scott that. But we can realistically win 1 or 2 games and get to an NFC championship. I really feel like that. So,
I know I was already kind of sounding like a Debbie Downer earlier when you asked me my prediction, but Detroit is beatable. I mean, we saw what Washington did to them. And,
yeah.
I mean, we were a timeout away from possibly beating the Commanders as well. So, you never know.
Can you imagine if that was us, right? Imagine if that was us in the playoffs. And that was us making that run to the NFC Championship. Because to your point, Carrie, it very easily could have been, right? It very easily could have been. We would have played. We'd have played the Bucs first round. We'd have kicked their asses. We'd have played somebody second round. I forget who they. Oh, Detroit, right?
You think Kirk had an easy time with the Bucs? Penix would have never let up on the gas. Yeah. I'm talking like 45-14 against this year's Bucs.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was that made them so easy and not a good matchup for us, but they can't cover Drake. They have a hard time covering Pitts, and they suck at covering Mooney.
Yeah.
And then that opens up so much underneath for Robinson.
Yep.
They were using that short swing game like a run game.
Yep.
Like, honestly, the Bucs just did not have it on defense this year versus us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm undefeated at Raymond James Stadium, so there's that too.
There you go.
So
and that's what's most important.
Yeah.
When Carrie comes up at Raymond James Stadium, the Falcons are undefeated. Carrie, I trust we're going to continue this tradition this year. Is that correct? Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll see you there because I'll be there.
There you go, Carrie. There you go. Definitely going to be there. Scott, if you could join us down in Tampa, that'd be great. If you could add that to your travel this year with the missus, that'd be great. You know what I mean? That'd be awesome.
We're probably not doing as much travel this year, honestly. We did our cruise in January, but since then, we don't got any vacation scheduled except for Charleston for Christmas, honestly, and maybe Jacksonville for Thanksgiving. Visiting family. So
it is possible then that you could make an appearance at. Oh, that'd be great. Oh man, that'd be great.
Depends on how the schedule comes out. Now, if they're playing in Germany, we might take a week off and go to Germany.
Yeah.
Against the Colts, right?
Well, yeah, probably against the Colts.
Okay.
There's a very real possibility they could do 2 overseas games this year if they volunteer for it. From what one of the schedulers has said, he said there's a possibility that a team will get 2 overseas games this year and be the road team for both, not lose any home games. Still have their allotment of 8. It'd be an NFC team going to 2 AFC teams. And I'm like, there's 3 teams that fit that schedule. And Atlanta's one. So you tell me Atlanta might be, it's possible. And so they'd go to England to play the Jets.
Uh-huh.
And the very next week they would go to Germany and play the Colts. And
why would Atlanta fit that? Why would Atlanta fit that profile, if you don't mind me asking? Like,
they've got an away game at the Jets this year, and they've got an away game at the Colts this year.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
You have an away game at those 2 teams. There's like 3 or 4 teams that have away games to both teams this year. They're one of the 2 NFC teams that does.
Gotcha.
So if you can do it, you do England 1 week, Germany the next, or Germany 1 week, England the next. Yeah, you spend 2 weeks overseas, but you go to Germany, you do your thing there. You go to England, you do your thing there. And then you come back and you have a bye week whenever you choose to have it in the season. So that's why they would do it.
Okay.
And it's very possible they just do Germany.
Okay.
They just do one. But if they did both, they would have, they're testing it out to see if it can work. Or they're seeing if the team will be willing to do that for future potential, a team moving to London reasons.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Well, guys, we have covered just about all we are going to cover today. Hopefully the Falcons can make another move tonight or tomorrow, or, like you say, Scott, this is day 1 of the draft. First and foremost, Scott and Carrie, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time. This was fun. I certainly enjoyed it. And I promise next week I won't be late. So, guys, in the chat, I fell asleep. That's right. T-Wil fell asleep. And I wake up at 4:05 and I see I see an instant message from Scott saying, hey, I'm ready or something like that. And then I see Carrie going, T-Wil, you all right? Because I'm never late for shows, right? I'm never late for shows. And so I was like, geez. So, guys, thank you for your patience. Scott, tell these fine folks where they can find you, man.
You can find me at Carasik S. It's on Twitter. I'm not ever going to call it X. On Twitter, you can find me there.
Me either. Just saying. I still call it Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm just not changing it.
If Mama named it Twitter, I'm going to call it Twitter.
Right.
It's Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Carasik S. You can also find me on Blue Sky at Carasik.bskysocial, however that works. And then that's basically it. I post stuff and I might have an article here or there in the Substack, but that's about it. I'm not really planning on doing a ton this year.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, again, hey, man, thank you. First and foremost, we are lucky to have you anytime you wish to join. It is a privilege and a pleasure, and I can't thank you enough. Miss Carrie, the best producer in the world, and I don't care who you put out there up against Miss Carrie. I know what I'm talking about. Tell us where we can find you.
Thank you, T-Wil. I appreciate that. It's been awesome to talk Falcons with you and Scott. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Hope you're happy and healthy, and hope the Falcons have an awesome free agency. I feel like so far it's off to a good start. Minus Monday. Monday, I was pretty down in the dumps. T-Wil knows about that.
Yeah.
Losing Drew Dahlman, which was kind of expected, but then falling out with losing Grady. So yeah,
Yeah.
I had a bad day Monday to the point where I forgot about an appointment. I was a no
Yeah.
no show at an appointment. I never do that, okay?
Yeah.
Because I was so caught up in, all that news. So yeah. Today, yesterday, much better days, and I'm sure tomorrow's gonna be great too. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. You can find me on Twitter as well, at Carrie Lynn XOX. Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate you, A1. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Guys, again, thank you to everyone who joined. Thank you to everyone in the chat. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to spend this time with us. So we are most appreciative. Look it, we're here every week. So Scott and I typically get together Wednesdays. So as long as Scott will grace me with his presence, and let's be clear, Scott, I know who I am in the relationship. Okay. I get it. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's my show, but Scott's clearly the talent. Let's be real. Okay. If this were Goose and Maverick, I'm Goose for the record. Except I don't die in this iteration of time.
I'm just here to talk football. So for me, I don't look at it that way. Like, I never have and I never will.
I love that, Scott. But I do, and so does the rest of the world. So anyway, hey, look, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the link below. We appreciate you watching us and spending time with us. And look, this was a fun time. We are going to come back next week and do the same thing again. Carrie, please feel free to join us again for my ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. The number 4, my ATL Sports, the number 1 on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can get into the algorithm. Thank you to everyone who showed up. Thank you, God, for waking me up this morning and all that you do. Thank you to Mr. Eric Parker and Jack Spade, who gave me my start in this business. And Scott, look at next week. Let's get it. Let's do a mock draft. And let's also get into, for fun and giggles, let's do a 3-team trade. Anybody you want, right? Let's get creative. And I'll go ahead and put it on a document ahead of time. And it'll be fun, man. And if you want, maybe we can do 2 or 3. Like, we can have some fun with it. Carrie, if you could join us, that would be great. To everyone else, have a great evening. Be safe out there. If you're in the traffic, be safe wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And hey, man, rise up and go Falcons. Good night, everybody.